Hi you guys, welcome to today's very exciting video. It's a Christmas video in October. Hear me out. For some of you, you guys are like rainbow. Even for you, this is a little... I feel like this video should come around now because people are starting to plan for Christmas. If you're not already have been planning, maybe you're already done. I feel like this video needs to be much earlier in the Christmas season though, and that's okay. I pulled out my Christmas sweater for you guys, or one of them. I stretched this one way over the bump. It's the first Christmas sweater of the season. It's very exciting. Okay, so today, you guys, I'm going to talk to you about Christmas budget. But specifically, I'm going to give you guys our Christmas budget. I'm going to tell you exactly what we spend and what we spent, because I'm honestly very close to being done. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna give you guys numbers. I'm gonna talk to you guys about this because I feel like not very many people do this, and it also people tend to skirt around the topic of money, things like that. There's a lot of taboos surrounding money, right? And I find on YouTube, anybody talking about Christmas budget is like talking about frugal ways to make Christmas cheaper, which is awesome for so many people. So many people need that, but that won't be this video. I'm just being honest with you guys and talking to you guys about exactly how much we spend, how we work our Christmas budget, what our Christmas budget is this year, and things like that. I decided to do this after talking to you guys on Instagram. I did a poll. We talked about money. We were talking about money in my stories. I saw this video or this article about this mom being slammed for spending $2,000 on Christmas. It made me think, how much are people spending on Christmas? And the number, of course, is going to vary so much depending on so many factors. But she was being slammed in the news for, she had like three or four kids, spent $2,000 on Christmas. That didn't seem very excessive to me personally. So I was like, what is the big deal? How much do people normally spend? So we started talking about that in my Instagram stories, and then I polled a bunch of you guys to see how much your family spends on Christmas. And it got this really interesting conversation going about how, one, a lot of people don't teach us how to budget. A lot of us don't know how to budget because we were never taught. A lot of people feel like money is something that we shouldn't talk about. There's a lot of shame involved in it. Sorry, I just got a phone call from my kid. So I had to pause the video, but I was in the middle of saying a lot of people were saying that they feel shamed if they spend what others might view as too much or maybe even too little. There's shame on both sides. And it's so weird that there's shame about how much you choose to spend on whatever holiday, right? So we kind of had this conversation on Instagram about like breaking down the stigma about talking about this stuff, how having a conversation about it it's not bragging to talk about it. It's not bragging to share what you do. It doesn't make you less than, but like we learn from each other. We learn how to budget. We get different ideas. We can become better as people when we talk to each other about stuff, right? We also applied this whole conversation, and I did a second poll to groceries, which is like a whole different thing about how much everybody spends a month approximately and where they were located on groceries. And so we had a conversation about grocery food stuff as well. And people are much more open to talking about the groceries than what they spend on Christmas, which I found really interesting. I've done quite a few Christmas budget videos in the past, but I've never actually told you how much we spend on Christmas. I'll tell you how much I spent on my kids. Sometimes I tell you how much I spent on stockings, but I've never given you the real number because I did feel shame. I was like, what if people judge me? What if people misunderstand me? What if it comes across weird? And this year I was like, do you know what? Why? Let's just talk about it. I feel after saying all that, I don't really need a disclaimer, but just know that every family is so different. I'm not sharing this to be weird. If you know me, then you know that's not how I am. So I feel like we don't need a big disclaimer here, but everybody does Christmas differently, if you do Christmas at all, and there's no wrong way to do it. So I'm just sharing what we do and how much we spend. And yeah, I just don't think there needs to be shame or weird feelings about talking about finances. Yeah, sure, there's like a cringy way to do that, but I feel like there's balance and we can have conversations like this without it being weird. So if you're gonna feel some feelings about talking about money, about spending, talking about spending on Christmas, and it feels like that might make you feel some not fun things or whatever, maybe this isn't the video for you, and that's totally okay. Just be nice in my comment section. Please be nice to each other. Don't be mean to anybody, because we don't do that here. Be nice to the pregnant lady. All right, so let's dive into what our 3 basic rules are for Christmas shopping. What was I gonna say? Christmas family? My husband and I have 3 rules. Now let's just put this out there. My husband and I do everything as a duo. Like, we budget together. All the finances are done together. We Christmas shop together. He is very much involved. I know that it's not as common. So when I say we, I'm not the like sole brains and operator behind Project Christmas every year. It is a team effort, and it needs to be a team effort. I'm so grateful that we do it together. So we have 3 basic rules that we have always had since we've been married, since the dawn of time, when it comes to Christmas spending. And those rules are: 1, spend what you're comfortable with and spend what you have. And when I say you, I just mean us. Like, these are our rules that we loosely formulated. Rule 2, do not go into debt for Christmas. Do not put anything on the credit card that you're not going to immediately pay off. Don't do anything like that. There's no debt that comes away from Christmas. That's a big, big rule of ours. We are really big on living like a debt-free life, besides, you know, a car payment, but whatever. We don't consider that different. That's a different thing. A different topic for not another day, because whatever. And the 3rd rule is don't just buy for the sake of buying. Like, don't just spend money because you have a budget. Like, don't just shop to shop. And those are the rules we stick by every year. Now, our Christmas budget changes every single year depending on how well we are doing financially. When we first had kids, we were a lot more broke than we are now. That's kind of usually how it goes, right? Like, we just didn't make as much money back then. And so we stuck to these rules, but our budget was a lot smaller. So we've kind of done everything over the years. Like, we've done Christmases that are like the 4 gift items, the want, wear, need, read, whatever. We've done budget Christmases. We've done really lush Christmases. We've done all these different types of Christmas. But something you should know when watching this is I love Christmas. I don't think that's that hard to believe if you have seen my face before. I do Vlogmas for 2 straight months, November and December. I'm a big Christmas lady. Like, Christmas is my favorite time of year for so many reasons. And it's something it's important to me. And Christmas is a priority for me. So, and my husband. And so we make spending at Christmas a priority. And that's not always the case. There are some people that are like, meh, I don't really see the point in spending that much at Christmas, but they'll go spend whatever amount throughout the year. Well, we would rather put that into Christmas. So we don't buy gifts for any random occasions. Like, we've never been like that. I don't like to consume too much through the year. I don't like to invite that much stuff into my house. So we just do gifts at Christmas and birthdays and no other time of year. I guess for Easter they get like a little basket of things, but like, we are not buying through the year. If we go to the store and our kids are like, oh, I want that, like, we don't buy that for them. They can buy it with their own money if they want, but like, we're not giving gifts all year round. And I mean, if you do that, you do you. There's no judgment there at all. Like, whatever, do what you want, it's your money. But just for me, spending now at Christmas, like spending a larger amount, makes sense to me because it's a priority for me, right? Okay, just one more thing I wanted to say, and then we're getting right into the nitty-gritty of it. I know, you guys are doing great. Stick with me. So one other thing about this Christmas in particular. So our budget is different every single year. I will fully openly admit that our budget is a lot bigger this year just because it's the way it worked out, which woohoo, fun, awesome. At the same time, this year is slightly different because we are having a baby at Christmas. I am due with our 3rd child a week before Christmas is my due date, my guest day. So that is harder on the finances in general. Babies are expensive. Inflation is insane. So doing inflation with baby stuff and then also Christmas stuff, it costs a lot of money. So that has made Christmas slightly different. Not just the cost, but like how we are operating Christmas this year, it's different. We are not getting together with family for Christmas this year because I will have just had a baby. We don't want to do that. I have a video talking about my boundaries and things that we're doing this year to just, you know, hold boundaries, do what works for us. It's the third time around. You really know what you like, what you want, and what you're not going to put up with when you have a baby. So we're not doing Christmas we're not going anywhere for Christmas. We're not having people over. It's the middle of cold and flu season. No, thank you. So we're not going anywhere. So that changes the budget a little bit. Like we're not going to do gift exchanges with the adults in the family because we are not going to be there. So we don't really want to do that this year. Plus we like would rather put that money into, you know, baby and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. And then the other thing is this is a huge transitional time for our family. This baby is coming along many years after the last time we had a baby. Almost 9 years later, we are finally having our third baby. So this is a huge transitional time for our family. And it's kind of our last big hurrah as a four. Although he will be here for Christmas, I'm pretty sure. Just to be frank, we wanted to spoil the crap out of our kids because like it's the last time it's just going to be them being spent on before I have to divide the budget into 3. You know what I mean? So that's how this Christmas is slightly different. So this year, our budget, how we do our budget is we see how much money we have or are going to have, and we map it out. So I was actually able to do my Christmas shopping really, really early this year. I did that on purpose for one, because I'm having a baby at Christmas. I want to be done all the shopping. I do not want to be in the mall. I don't want to be dealing with, like, none of the deals here are good enough to make me want to go to Black Friday or anything. Like last year, they all kind of sucked. I wasn't happy with any of them. It wasn't worth it to me. So I figured I'll go in and shop before the prices increase, that like Christmas inflation price happens. So I'm almost completely done Christmas shopping already, which I'm so proud of. I've never been this early in my life. But I'm also having a baby at Christmas, and I'm not doing all of that while enormously pregnant or postpartum. Like, no thank you. So this year we just kind of figured out how much we kind of wanted to spend. We figured out what we had, what we could put towards Christmas, what could go there, and then we broke out the budget from there. So this year we decided, drum roll please, all the anticipation, we decided that we were comfortable spending slightly over $3,500, so $3,500. That might, you know, shock some of you. That might be like, oh, that's it. I was expecting something way more. And I will break down the budget on what we spent where in a second. Again, not every Christmas has been like this. We have, I think we've always spent about $1,000 at least. Just because, again, Christmas has always been a priority. We used to have to put money away months in advance, and we just put money away every time we had some. We budgeted out, so we had like a certain amount going towards Christmas every month, and we've done it like that, and that works really well. We've done it before where we save in like a period of a month or 2, and that's enough. And the only thing is, like, with our rules, we just make sure that Christmas doesn't get in the way, the Christmas spending doesn't get in the way of normal living. So everything has to be able to be paid for and managed, and then Christmas is just gravy on top. We also need to make sure that we have a cushion for normal life stuff, like our normal cushion of what we would have for like eating out, if something happens, if we have to take the dog to the vet, blah, 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 blah. That cannot go to Christmas. Christmas has to be its own separate little entity over here, the Christmas budget. And that is how we manage it, and that's how we feel is responsible for our family. Again, some people might rather like put their money into savings or spend on a big trip. That's not us. That's not what we like to do. So this is what works for us. So I don't know, this might seem like a huge budget to you. That might seem like an average budget to you. It might seem small. Who knows how much everybody spends, but we've come from a place of doing it all the ways, all the different ways. And yeah, we just feel lucky that we get to do it this way right now. Okay, so let's do the budget breakdown. I break down my budget a little differently than some people might, or we do. Some people like have their kids' budget, but that also includes stockings and everything like that. So I'm going to break that down about exactly how much I spend where, and how I got to our, how I keep saying it was a team effort, how we got to our budget. So again, one of our goals this year is kind of spoil our kids, right? But not only spoil our kids, it's kind of spoil ourselves a little bit, because this is like our you know how people do like baby push presents, baby moon things. This is what we're doing because we're having a baby at Christmas. So we did a budget of $750 per person in our family. It feels really big because it is. I think so. I mean, some people spend that much normally. There were people that answered my Instagram that are like, yeah, I spend between like blah, blah, blah. And it was like larger. Cool. For us and in our history of spending, you guys know that I usually talk about how much I spend, and I usually spend between, in my past videos, you'll probably see my spending between $200 and $500, and I've never really overshot that. So this is like a pretty big overshoot for me. And then also we usually spend less on my husband and I because we don't usually really want anything. But this year we decided to use Christmas again to kind of treat ourselves as parents before we go into this transitional phase and have this new baby, and just kind of be like, why not? We can, so why not? So we did $750 each person. So each of the kids has that, and then we also gave that budget to ourselves. And the way we do it for ourselves so that we're not wasting money on useless gifts is we actually shop for ourselves for Christmas, my husband and I. I'm not going to spend $750 on him because I know that he could spend that money better on himself, on more useful things for himself, and the same with me. So we actually took $100 out of that and said, okay, I'll buy you something with this, you buy me something with this, but then the rest was just ours to spend with sorry, that wasn't a fart, that was my ball if you heard any squeaks. I'm sitting on a pregnancy ball. And so we just spend it on ourselves so that we can kind of treat ourselves, because I don't know about any of you, but I never buy myself anything. I don't buy myself stuff throughout the year, really. My husband will kind of sometimes, but we really don't buy stuff for ourselves through the year. It's kind of the same as the kids. Like, we don't buy them anything besides Christmas and birthdays, unless they obviously like need something, like we buy them clothes and stuff. But this was a really big one. It was actually a challenge, but I'm so glad I did, because I feel like I treated myself and like just cared for myself in a way that I'm really going to appreciate postpartum. Okay, but moving away from that, we don't include stockings in that. I just don't. It's easier for me not to include stockings in like the overall gift budget. I don't know. Everybody's different. So there are 4 of us, and we budgeted $300 for stockings. Maybe that seems excessive, I have no idea, but I feel like everybody I've talked to have been like, stockings are the most expensive thing ever. And I'm like, right? Like, $50 used to be like, oh wow, such a lovely budget for a stocking. And now you can get like 4 things for that. The inflation is through the roof, and it is so expensive to fill up a stocking, it's ridiculous. So I'm thinking like, you know, $75-$80 a person should do it. Hopefully. So I budgeted $300 for that. Again, if we don't spend it, we don't spend it. Especially on the smaller things. Like, if I can fill up all the stockings for less, I will do so. But that's the budget I gave myself because I'm trying to be realistic, and I know how expensive that is and how much those little things add up. Especially like when you have older kids. I have an older daughter, and like earrings, jewelry, accessories, all those things that fit in stockings, they're like $15 each. It adds up like crazy. Maybe this is be ridiculous for some of you. Maybe it's very normal. We have an animal budget. We have pets. So $50 is going towards gifts for our pets. It's not very much. We have 2 dogs. We have 2 guinea pigs, and we have a parrot, a cockatiel. And so we get them all Christmas gifts or treats. Like, Santa leaves something for everybody in this house. So I have $50 budgeted towards animal gifts. That has been more in the past, but like, nobody needs a new bed or anything. My dogs have their orthopedic beds, my old senior dogs, and everything's good. So it'll just be like treats and a toy maybe, or something like that. I've budgeted $100 to go towards sibling gifts. So what we'll do is we'll give each of our kids $50, and they will get to go to the store and pick something out for their sibling. They wrap it and they put it under the tree, and they exchange those gifts to each other on Christmas Eve. It is a tradition in our house, and it's really important for us to give them that money, or just have a budget that is for sibling gifts. We always do it. I want them to get into that like spirit of giving for somebody else, and really getting into the joy of like choosing out a gift that you think is going to be special to somebody, right? Thinking about a person that is not yourself. And and trying to find something that's going to be really awesome for them. So we take them wherever they ask to go, we give them their budget, and away they go. So that is awesome. And then I have $50 to $100 budgeted for Christmas pajamas. We do new Christmas PJs every Christmas Eve. It is a big tradition in our family, and I do have to buy them every single year. Usually they're not always Christmas themed because I need them to be worn all year long, but my kids outgrow everything. Like, they would never fit into the same pajamas 2 years in a row. Like, my kids are so tall. My 12-year-old is 5'6". Like, it would never work. So we just buy new Christmas pajamas every year, and I'm really excited to add a cute little onesie this year and find a little matching baby outfit. Okay, so again, this does not include things like Christmas baking, Christmas food. If we were doing a normal Christmas, this budget would have been either added to, that sounds ridiculous, or it would have been broken down in a different way. We wouldn't have spent so much on each of us, obviously. And we would have put in there like food and baking. Usually I make cookie tins. I'm not doing that this year because it's just too much for me when I'm, you know, nearly 10 months pregnant by Christmas. Like, just making Christmas magic when the elves come. We do North Pole breakfast. We do all of these things. So like, sometimes I will budget that into that. This year I didn't because the way our finances work this year, we were able to pay for everything way earlier, like 2 months ago. And so anything extra that we have that we would normally put towards Christmas or something can go to other things, can go into savings. That's going to be like extra baby cushion money. Also, like, instead of, we were simultaneously paying for Christmas and baby stuff at the same time. So like, we had to divide things like that. And then obviously there's going to be room now that we are already done Christmas shopping for things like Christmas magic and Christmas food and things like that. But we're also not doing a big turkey dinner at Christmas this time. I'm doing freezer meals, and we're gonna get more takeout probably. Like, we're gonna probably get curry on Christmas Day, or, you know, something like that instead, because we're gonna be freshly postpartum. So that is my honest budget breakdown. I'm not leaving anything out. I'm telling you guys up front what I spent. But that's the thing though, with inflation and how much everything is. Inflation, rainbow, but it's true. When you guys watch my what I got my kids for Christmas, it doesn't look like I spent that much. Like, it really doesn't. It, like, if I were to spend $200, I feel like that would be like maybe five gifts if I was really, really budgeting well and like finding good deals. It is ridiculous out there now. I hate it so much. I think it's crazy. Like, that's the thing too. Years ago, I would have never spent this much because I would have never had to. That would have been ridiculous. The amount of stuff I could have gotten for the money when, you know, my daughter was 3 versus now, that would have been like ridiculous overkill. We would have had so much stuff in the house, but it's just not the case anymore. Shit costs more money. And yeah, you know. Okay, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed talking about your budgets. If you want to be honest with me and tell me what you spend, if you want to, like, if you're feeling some liberation of financial discussion and you want to talk about what your Christmas budget is, please feel free to put that in the comments below. If you guys want to talk to each other, cool, do it. Just be nice to each other. Be nice to me. Again, I'm not sharing this for any other purpose besides it's interesting. We don't get to hear about this a lot. So I find it very, very interesting. Also, I don't want you guys to see all the things we're doing, all these Christmas things, and be like, and we're having a baby at the same time. And I don't want there to be like, oh, how? Like, that's so expensive. I want to be upfront about, like, yeah, it is expensive. It costs a lot. Or it can, if you want to make it cost a lot. And like, I just want to be more transparent and explain how we do it. And yeah, like, I'm really frugal in other parts of our life. Like, I was very, very frugal in a lot of our baby shopping just because I love thrifting. I got given a lot of stuff. I like collecting pieces. I like to save money in other areas just because I enjoy it, and like, why not? Christmas for me just like isn't one of those areas. I just like to go hard at Christmas, and It makes me happy. So whatever. So yeah, if you guys want to tell me, if you want to share your Christmas budget, how much you're spending on your kids or average or whatever, does it change for you? I also think these conversations are important because I am very passionate about the fact that people should not go into debt at Christmas. I know it's like really hard not to, and it's very common for a lot of people to go into like massive debt. They're paying off Christmas months after Christmas. And that's why like budget videos on like actual budget breakdown videos on YouTube are so awesome, because it shows people how to be able to budget that without. I should also say, some people have asked me like, how do you manage and track your budget when you're shopping? So I'm going to just touch on that really quick. I keep a note on my phone. So you know, like notes on the iPhone, I keep a huge note and I start to jot down way earlier in the year things my kids have pointed out. I'll take pictures of it if we're at the store, things my kids have mentioned that they might be interested in. So I'll have a general, their wish list or what I've seen for them, whatever. My kids are really not picky. They gave me a couple things they were interested in and were like, I don't know, I trust you. And that was that. But I keep notes and I keep it organized. So it's like the Christmas budget, it's like Christmas, whatever year it is. And I've got like each name and then all the things underneath. I've got a stocking section, and then under the stocking section goes each name again. So I record everything that goes in everybody's stocking. So I never have to look at what I have. I can pull up my phone and look at exactly what I have. As I buy it, a big check goes next to it and I put the price. And then I put like their name and the total that they have that year. And then as I add prices, I take away from that total. And so it just tells me like, okay, when I'm shopping, I can quickly pull out that note on my phone and be like, okay, so-and-so has $150 left to spend. Cool. Now I know I can buy this thing, and that'll be most of their budget, blah, blah, blah. It just makes it so much easier. And that's how I keep track of everything. So I'll know like, okay, I spent this much on this stocking item, whatever. And I can just take away the totals, and that helps me keep in the budget that I set for myself. I've never really gone too far out of my budget. We give ourselves a very generous budget, and then we stick to it. And that's kind of always been how we are. Now, don't get me wrong, there have been years where we had a very modest, tight budget. Like the year that Cody was laid off, that was really tight. But we just spend what we have and what we're comfortable with every year. And that's how I track it, is I just keep a notes on my phone, and we go over a budget, we write down a physical budget, and then I break it up into things on my phone, and we can send that to each other if we're shopping, or we can just keep track and make sure we spent the amount we intended on everybody, because I don't do even amounts of gifts anymore, because it's way too hard with my oldest being 12 and my middle child being 8, and then we're gonna have a baby. So I just do a budget, and then I try and keep the budget even. But even that is going to be different, because I'm obviously not going to give, like, if this was 2 years from now, I'm not going to give my 2-year-old a $750 budget, because that would be insane, because you can get so many more 2-year-old toys for cheaper than you can get 12-year-old stuff. You know what I mean? So that can be a different video. I think I've talked your ear off enough. Hopefully I answered all of your questions. If you have any questions or anything that you're curious about and you would like to ask me in the comments, feel free. I'm an open book. I'm happy to answer. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it came off in a good way. I hope nobody's like all ruffled feathers, but if you are, like, cool. Yeah, if you want to have a conversation about budgets and everything, let me know. Are you done your Christmas shopping? Have you started your Christmas shopping? Do you do it like all in December? How do you Christmas shop? I'm so interested. This is the earliest I've ever been, but I've gotten many messages being like, I'm totally done. And I'm like, I am jealous. So let me know what you do. And yeah, get ready, you guys. Vlogmas starts on November 2nd. And I have it all planned out. I'm pre-filming videos. That's why you're getting a Christmas video in the middle of October, because I have been pre-filming so that I can have a little bit of a mat leave and a baby break and balance everything while still giving you guys the content I really want to give you. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys. Merry almost Christmas.